Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Deus Ex. Now, I've skipped back in time just a bit so that I could get that augmentation upgrade canister from that dead MIB and not use it, but still have a full inventory. Now, the reason for that is because that bug I showed you last time has a second form.
You made it! How long?
Now, what was that sound? Interesting.
I got it right here. Hold on. No room.
That's right. If you have an augmentation upgrade canister in your inventory when you talk to Savage, you not only get those 500 skill points, you get a new canister for each time you talk to him.
I got it right here. Hold on. Hold on.
JC just shits it right out. Stack up. It's actually pretty amusing to watch. But sadly, this is from an older save. Plus, well, even I have limits to how badly I'll cheat. But just so you know, you can upgrade the hell out of everything thanks to Gary Savage. And just before the end, too. It's a good time to do it, if nothing else.
The control room is underground. The security code we have is 8456, but that's an old piece of trivia from our days at Area 51. I doubt it still works on all of the doors.
You know something nice you can do with level 4 targeting? You can snipe with a shotgun. But actually, you know, come to think of it, why the hell would a scientist from Area 51 know the code for an unrelated nuclear launch site several miles away? And presumably we are still in California. Area 51 is in Nevada. It's not like completely forever away, but it is so far away that someone with a need-to-know clearance would not need to know. Oh, there you are. I knew there was a third guy in here. Wonder how he got on the furniture, though. Alright, what do we have in here? Oh, one pick. I can spare one pick. Assault rifle ammo. I can spare one pick. Range mod. Not the most useful of mods, but whatever. What do we got here? Yeah, I think that's as upgraded as the sniper rifle is going to get. Dear, looks like they killed all of the US troops that were manning this station. And isn't this tricky? Hiding it behind the side that you aren't going to obviously see. What is up here? Odd place to store your crates. Kind of random stuff they've got here, too. Anyway, we got the key to the front door, but in fact we do not need the key to the front door, because we've got this walkway here instead. That'll let us into the wooden fence perimeter. Also, it appears that we've got some robots to worry about. So we've got, ways to deal with that. In fact, there are two robots to deal with. I don't know. Sounds like somebody saw me. Not quite sure how. Oh yeah. I just wanted to show you that regular bullets do in fact deal damage to robots. Just a very small amount of it.
Taking fire here.
I mean, buckshot dealing 4% damage to a walker, that would be, I don't know, 2.5 clips or so? That'd be quite a lot of buckshot to spend on just one enemy. Let's deal with this other guy the same way we dealt with the first one. And we're done. I think that about does it for the entire surface at this point. Now, of course, the goal is to get underground. This is the most obvious way in. 2 picks or 25% damage, or you can take the elevator here, that's another 2 tools. Fortunately, for some reason, 25% is too high for the sword. But there are other ways of getting downstairs. Now, the big thing is that actually all of the doors into all of these rooms are locked. So if you just try the doors, it's not going to work for you. But of course, if you get the soldiers' attentions, they tend to open the doors for you. And then, as I just showed, you can break a window, grab one of the small crates, and then just sort of jump through there. That is also a completely viable alternative. Truck doors. But this is pretty much a dead end. The easiest way of getting in is getting in through here. So presumably this is where you are intended to start. Or at the very least, it's where you have one option of starting. There's a more direct way of getting where you need to go. And of course, if you don't even want to break a window, you can actually go up here and then drop down. That gets you onto the roof. And you can see it brings us to that second room area. And if you walk around on the roof, you get this other wooden walkway here. And this gets us onto the building where we want to go. Now, of course, like I was saying, this room has plenty of windows of its own, which you can use to get inside. Just break it, get one of the small crates. The door is not an option, unfortunately, but there are plenty of other ways in, as I've just shown you. And the reason you want to get in here is because of that grate. But I'll get back to that a little later. First, we need to get into that truck. I got the key for this a little earlier. It's got a few nice things in it. Could have sworn I saw something underneath it, but it appears to have been my imagination. So what have we got here? Gas grenade? Nothing at all? And a plasma clip. Yeah, that's weird. Nothing at all in that crate. Never seen that before. Also, I want to move this crate, but because of that one med kit, I can't. But I can get back here. What do you know? It's another silencer for some reason. I keep hiding those in truck beds. It's a little odd. But anyway, so here's the most direct way of getting downstairs without having to spend anything. Yep, break a window, jump in through, and then you just go down the grate here, and you're on the staircase. Well, you can even open this door for free once you're inside. We won't be leaving through that means, though. I'm curious. Nope. Nothing down there. What was that code? There we are. Looked like the side of a ventilation duct, but I guess it's not. Looks like there's two ways to go at this point. I'm guessing from the fact that this is an infinite, that does not use the same code. It's kind of odd that you can still use it though. But yes, that will turn off those lasers, but so will a rocket. Seems like it got someone's attention though. That could be a problem.
Give yourself.
Yeah, that's a pretty big problem here. Of course, at this point, I'm not even bothering to save the MIB's life. At this point, they're too generic. They really don't have any special stuff on them if you take them down non-lethally.
The abort switch is straight ahead. First, abort the launch, then use the terminal on the left to reprogram the missile to hit Area 51.
You know, I like this. It makes sense. The abort switch for a nuclear missile launch is a giant, well-lit, well-marked button.
Launch aborted. Now use the terminal at the side of the room to reprogram the missile.
In fact, this is the difficult part. Reprogramming the missile so that we can use it against Bob Page. Because it's not enough to avoid our own destruction. We need to bring the fight to them. What better way of doing that than grabbing a nuclear goddamn missile and firing it at Area 51? Now, what's all this then? Aha, the login.
Why are you locked in the bathroom?
Closest thing we have to a jail cell.
And?
I found out about Howard Strong. He's the reason we're about to nuke Vandenberg.
Who's strong?
You won't believe me.
Go ahead.
He's an agent for a secret high-level conspiracy called Majestic 12.
Interesting.
I'm not crazy. The guys in the black uniforms aren't U.S. soldiers. Ever since they got here, Strong's been in charge.
I didn't call you crazy.
I guess Strong must be a covert agent.
I'm staying right here. I'm not taking any chances. Seems like this sort of thing is always happening to the U.S. military. They should do a better job screening people. This was supposed to be a top-secret facility. I'm not taking any chances.
You know, I wish you would stand just a bit to your right there, buddy. That is just a little bit annoying. Well, anyway. Got a couple more crates back here. That all valuable 30-06 ammo. I guess it's just the one crate back there. Oh well. We're basically done in here now. Just gotta go up here. Type in the password. And start a new launch. Now, we can actually use these cameras to look at a couple interesting things. Like that Strong there, standing underneath the missile for some reason. And perhaps more importantly, it looks as though there's some sort of an ambush waiting for us. That might be a good thing to watch out for. Nothing else back here.
Launch sequence initiated. It's gonna be a sunny day at Area 51.
Just like your lab work, Savage. Premature celebration.
You've got about 10 minutes, Paige.
As a scientist, you should have learned to expect surprises.
JC, go to the silo. Make sure no one interferes with this launch.
I have no idea how Strong would interfere, but this is a very nice way of dealing with that ambush over there. Oh yes. I love the sound of MIBs blowing up.
We have a few minutes to kill before we destroy the missile. Might as well kill you.
And this is the point at which the ambush would have triggered and tried to kill me. But, as you've just seen... Uh-oh. Another MIB. Well, like I was saying, as you've just seen, I have dealt with the ambush in the most efficient means possible. But just for the sake of completion, let's see what the suggested route does for us. The suggested route being, of course, to duck into this very conveniently located grate and go down this chute here and into the water, which for some reason has flooded the last few feet of this missile silo. Not entirely sure what it's for, but here we are. Now this is level 1, so let's just count up from here. Now there's a guy we need to kill in order for the launch to succeed.
You want this route that I've still got Helios and we're a mile underground? Let's see.
The rocket's about to launch. I'll meet you topside.
Oh, he has a plasma rifle. Aside from that, it's kind of not that helpful. Kind of underwhelming. I mean, he didn't even get any lines or anything. Kind of weird that the only thing on this particular level is a couple of spider bots. But on the plus side, on this particular level, we get a repair rod. Now we've been on level 5, so let's just skip up to level 6. And actually you can snipe Howard Strong from level 5, so you don't actually have to go down there at all if you don't want to. But the most expedient way of getting out of the missile silo once you're in here is through the hatch. Only open it from underneath.
Now on to Area 51, JC. Page will be weakened. This is our chance.
Let's get out of here. There's a hero's welcome waiting for you at Vandenberg.
We're going to Area 51.
Alone? Don't you think we should regroup first?
I'm going after Bob Page.
Let's just hope the missile gets there first.
Just spotted a sniper in the tower.
For reference, those would have been Jock's last words if we had not caught the bomb in time. Way back when we were still in Paris. But you know what? Considering that we just dropped a nuke on this place, it is looking in remarkably good shape.
Here's a satellite image of the damage from the missile. Page is weakened, but you still have to penetrate his bunker. I seem to be in remission, JC. Everett is right. The virus has some sort of on-off switch. Anyway, I'll be looking over your shoulder again.
Well, that does make sense. Because remember, the virus is based on the same hardware as JC's regular nanobots. There's the other one. Guess I'll just use a rocket on this one. There we go. Now, here's the image. I guess that explains it. Somehow we touched down on just one edge of where the nuke went off. So you only got relatively moderate damage, all things considered. Oh, yeah, this is interesting. There's Walton Simons again. Hi there, Walton Simons. So, just for the record, I could end him with a rocket right now if I wanted to. But he does have a few last words, which, you know, I figure we ought to hear before he dies. got? Ah, just an assault rifle and a lockpick. Sigh. Now there is one other thing you can do with this particular crate. There's one other thing you can do with this particular crate other than climb on the other crates. Assuming I could stick the landing. Yeah, you can jump onto this shack here. And then you've got this hatch. So you can climb down the hatch. And get into this secure area here. Which is very convenient because it means getting to turn off the camera and the turret without having to, you know, get their attention in the process. Now, I suppose it's time I deal with Walton Simons for real this time. Yeah. I can at least weaken him a little first, though.
You take another step forward, and here I am again. Like your own reflection repeated in a hall of mirrors.
That makes me one ugly son of a bitch. How'd my face get all marked up with bioelectrics?
I am the more advanced model, Denton. It's time for you to retire. You shall see.
That was disappointing. But hey, he did some significant damage to me. I guess that should count for something. Stupid plasma rifle, that's all. A couple of locked lockers. Guess I should do something about that. Can't find a key, so... Now, what are my goodies here? Multi-tools... Assault rifle ammo. Lovely. But this is why coming in here is a good idea, at the very least. This is where you find the tower key. And in any case, Simons will chase you so long as you are anywhere on the lower side of this map. So it's not like it matters whether or not you actively come into this particular shed or not. Now what have we got here? Not sure where I found the key that unlocks it, but I'm glad I was able to. Huh. Security login. Now, how about you there? I believe I'll be able to find the code that allows me to open that chamber with the upgrade canister in it, so I'll leave it be for the time being. I'll just keep exploring and hopefully I'll find it. Nothing up here on the roof, really. I guess it would be a nice vantage point to snipe Walton Simons from, if nothing else. It's odd, there's a camera in there. Now there's actually some more survivors inside the hangar here.
I saw some soldiers running away from the hangar. Be careful.
Yep, there he is. Uh-oh. Might be a little dangerous to stick my head in there. Alright, and looks like I got the third guy. So, that's the end of that. It's kind of interesting, because it looks like this area was run by the US military as well, but for some reason the MJ-12 troops are attacking them as well. Guess they didn't explain everything, or something like that. I was talking about an intake valve. I guess to allow cool air into the base of the facility, and you have to admit it's going to need a lot of cold air because it's got some awfully powerful computers there at the bottom. Now we can open that hatch with 2 picks, but there is another way of dealing with that.
I give up.
Relax. I'm not from Majestic 12.
Who?
The guys who've been shooting people. I was under the impression that they ran this facility.
Oh no, I've seen them underground. I've heard rumors, but I didn't really think...
More of it's true than you would believe. I'm here to stop them. Can you help me get inside the bunker?
You must be crazy.
I'm going after their leader, Bob Page. Can you help me or not?
Well, yeah, sure. If you want to open the blast door, the security terminal is at the top of the control tower. The login is A51, password XX15YZ.
That's more like it.
I hope you know what you're doing. I think I'll set this one out. The guys in black, they've been executing the survivors. Some of my unit escaped, but I don't know where they are. The blast was incredible. If it wasn't for the hill, we'd all be puffs of smoke. I lost a lot of friends today. I hope you know what you're doing.
Yeah, sorry about that. But, you know, we didn't exactly have an army and this was our only alternative. Also, just wanted to show that that section of staircase actually works as a ladder. Now if I can get on this beam here, I can go up to the roof of this thing. And storage key. And if I climb onto this girder over here, I can climb all the way across and oh, whoops. Did not mean to fall out the back. But since I'm here, I can show you that there's a missing texture and it is really weird looking. But that is not what I meant to show you. So instead, let me just climb back up onto this girder and then jump onto the intake vent.
This ventilation shaft will take you down into the bunker, but watch out for the fan blades. Jump! You can make it!
Once again, the fan blades can be easily dealt with. I just wanted to show you that that particular hatch has no lock on it whatsoever. And so you can actually, you know, follow Bob Page's advice and jump all the way down there. There's water at the bottom, you'll be perfectly safe. But I did get the tower key door. And I also had a crazy amount of trouble with the second half of this map. Man, you would not believe. Alright. I'm gonna land down. But yes, so, at this point, enter the control tower. Go up to the top where that sniper was. Couldn't get anything off of it. And at this point, I can use that login and password that I got from the one data pad and the one guard. One soldier, sorry. And from here you can open the blast doors. That is the primary entrance to the Area 51 facility. Or the part of the facility that we are interested in, at the very least. Most of it seems to be a radioactive crater at this point. And unfortunately I did not find any sort of code that would open this hatch here. So, whatever. 2 multi-tools, it's not gonna break the bank. Here we go. And yeah. I used the hell out of the power recirculator, so I might as well upgrade that all the way now. Too bad I didn't find that code, though. I could have sworn it was in there somewhere.
These blast doors are the reason I don't have to worry about nukes. Or you.
Now it is possible, you may have seen one of the walker bots down there, and it is possible to lure it over this way close enough for the turret to get a good shot at it. And that will eventually take it down. Just, unfortunately, not quite as fast as the walker bot can take you down. So it's preferable in general to use the standard means.
The schematics show an elevator to the west, but utility power is down. You'll need to bring up the power before you can use the elevator.
Don't rely too heavily on Savage's schematics. You can be certain that I've installed a few surprises since his departure.
Well, if you say so, but actually Tracer Tong is correct.
You're nearing the power room. The computer that controls power to the elevator system is in the control room at the back.
More thermoptic camo. Too bad I don't need it. And again, I never really have needed it. You know, actually, before I use that repair bot, there are 2 crates down there surrounded by atomic material. Radioactive material, I mean. Although it seems like standing here is a good way of avoiding radiation. Well, either way. I am now back up to full. And the button I need to get at is in there. But the door is locked. Luckily, there are a whole bunch of TNT crates just sitting there, begging to be used. So I'm going to use them. Fortunately, it took out the repair bot, too. Oh well. Casualties of war.
The elevator power is online. Good. Proceed to the bunker.
Now, if I didn't want to do it that way, I can enter this room, which you saw was unlocked. From there, take the ladder up to the walkway here. This is where that one spider bot was that I shot from a distance. If I hadn't, I would have had to deal with it to get across. But once across, I could go down the ladder and then use the, press the button. Turns the elevator on. Of course, you don't even need to turn the elevator on, because there are all of these pipes just waiting for you to jump down onto them. And it does hurt, but you can totally use those pipes to get all the way down to the bottom alive. Not safely, but alive. Also kind of a tricky jump here, but it does save me some time later on, because now I can walk through this tunnel here without having to climb up a couple of ladders to reach this spot. That was easy enough. And of course it once again prevented me from having to deal with another spider bot. Use those things for damn well everything. Now the thing is that where we are right now, everything's kind of mixed up in its locations because I am going through it backwards. Under normal circumstances, I would be entering this area from the direction that I am going. That's because, you might see by that hole in the roof there, but this is where that one fan drop would drop you. See? Doesn't that look familiar? There would be a fan up there, but I destroyed it. And there's also something down here, too. I mean, naturally. Yep, dead body. Can't wait to see what he's got on it. Scramble grenade, and a laser mod, which I do not need. Too bad. But let's just skip all the rigmarole of getting back down to the bottom here.
Good work. You've reached the bunker. Page has extensive defenses throughout sectors 2 and 3, so We think Page himself has pulled back to Sector 4.
Oh, much farther than that. A moment more and I will be like nothing you've ever seen. A new life form everywhere and nowhere. Like air or radiation, redundant, self-replicating, always evolving.
How nice for you. But I'll deal with you next time. But as for right now, I think you know what we're here for today. So without any further ado, here's the Conspiracy Corner image, and now let's begin. The facts. The story of Area 51 begins with a bomb. The atomic bomb, to be precise. The Manhattan Project was the first ever black project of the United States. It was so black that Congress didn't know about it. It was so black that Harry Truman didn't know about it until he became president in 1945. And as vice president, he had been chairman of the Senate Special Committee to investigate the National Defense Program, which specifically watched the flow of wartime money. Despite this, he was unaware of a nuclear program which in today's money cost around $28 billion. Area 51 is one of 28 areas marked out in the Nevada National Security Site, previously known as the Nevada Test Site and the Nevada Proving Grounds. The site, located at the southern tip of Nevada, was created in 1950 by order of Harry Truman and administered by the Atomic Energy Commission, the descendant of the Manhattan Project, which would later get consolidated into today's Department of Energy. The site was used to test nuclear warheads for over 50 years, first in open-air explosions, and then, once we figured out what fallout could do, underground tests. Nevada hosted just about 1,000 atomic explosions over the years, and nearly as many anti-nuke protests, and all that old footage of disintegrating buildings and flying jeeps and such was taken at the test site. The John Wayne film, The Conqueror, was filmed just downwind of the test site, near St. George in southwest Utah in 1956, and as a result, the cast and crew went on to suffer roughly 3 times the normal cancer rate. U.S. astronauts also made use of the Nevada site in the 1960s and 70s. One of the old moon landing conspiracy theories is that it was staged not just anywhere, but in Area 51. And while that's not true, the astronauts did go through some of their training on the site. You see, certain kinds of underground nuclear tests can create subsidence craters, which are what you get when a large amount of rock and dirt vaporizes and the area above it collapses in. They're actually fairly similar in layout to lunar craters, and so both the astronauts and the lunar rover went to the Nevada test site to get some practice at climbing the steep slopes. These days, there are no nuclear bombs tested in Nevada. We stopped performing even underground tests in 1992. The site is occasionally used now to test subcritical plutonium masses, mostly to see whether a given supply has become too old to use. But these days, the test site has become a tourist attraction. Of course, you still aren't allowed to bring any cameras or cell phones, and some areas are still restricted, most notably Area 51, which continues in its intended use to this day. See, the thing is, the Nevada National Security Site is part of the even larger Nellis Air Force Range, and although Area 51 is adjacent to the NNSS, it's actually an Air Force facility, more properly called Homey Airport and Groom Lake. The base is used by the Air Force and the CIA to develop the most advanced and secret aircraft ever produced by the United States. Back before satellites were a thing, the Air Force developed the U-2 spy plane in Area 51, and the next generation, A-12, was sent there to pass a series of tests dubbed Project Oxcart. The A-12 would quickly become obsolete thanks to spy satellites and improvements in Soviet radar defenses, but the design was repurposed into the SR-71, a reconnaissance aircraft which still holds world records in speed and flight ceiling. Groom Lake was also used to test the capabilities of Russian MiGs, which we had gotten our hands on by one means or another. More recently, Area 51 has been used to test unmanned drone aircraft and the F-117, America's first stealth fighter. Groom Lake is still in use today, but for obvious reasons, the CIA and the Air Force aren't discussing what they're currently developing. Hell, it might be where they developed that stealth helicopter we found out about recently. Or it might be something we still don't know about. The conspiracy. The legend of Area 51 essentially begins in Roswell, New Mexico in 1978. No, not in 1947, 1978. In 1947, a metallic disc-shaped object fell onto a ranch outside of Roswell near the Army base. The rancher picked up some of the pieces, word got around, and eventually the Army showed up to haul off the wreckage. Afterward, they explained that the debris was a crashed weather balloon, which was a lie insofar as it was actually a prototype surveillance balloon designed to monitor Soviet nuclear tests. They called it Project Mogul. The real story gets going when a few UFO researchers went to Roswell 30 years later and started asking the locals about the incident. Supposedly, these witnesses had actually discovered strange foreign materials at the crash site, and the Army threatened and incarcerated the ranchers who discovered the wreckage in order to keep them silent. Some witnesses claimed to have seen bodies, and a coroner recalled getting a special order for several child-sized caskets. The latter claims were probably inspired by a second operation, High Dive, which took place in the 1950s and involved chucking crash test dummies out of planes to test parachute systems. However, while Roswell was the start of the government cover-up of a crashed UFO meme, Area 51 wouldn't get involved until Bob Lazar went on TV in 1989 and claimed that for a short time he had worked at Area 51, subsection S4, and witnessed not just one, but a whole hangar full of UFOs of various shapes and sizes. Supposedly, he also caught a glimpse of a gray alien at one point, also known as a Zeta Reticulum, and after trying to show evidence of what he had discovered to his friends and family, he was threatened, fired, and then harassed until he decided to go public with his knowledge. Now, if that tie-in to the Aquarius telex, and therefore the MJ-12 documents of the early 80s, didn't tip you off, then the fact that Lazar never got a college degree at CIT or MIT as he claims should indicate to you that Lazar is a liar, and moreover, he lacked the credentials to so much as get the attention of the people who worked at Groom Lake. Nevertheless, he did successfully spark attention for Area 51 and turned it into the second legendary location of American ufology. Personal thoughts. Memory is a funny thing. My parents have an anecdote they like to tell about me. Back when I was very young, my family lived in a split-level house, and on the top floor was a laundry chute, really more of a hole in the floor, inside the hallway closet. Being very young, I liked to test my limits, and one such test was to lower myself into the chute to see how far I could get and still pull myself back out. Eventually, I found that limit. I went down to my chest, and my arms locked. I could go neither up nor down. My parents were home, thankfully, and so I called out, "Mom? Mom?" She replied, "I'm busy right now." So I called out, "Dad? Dad?" He came up, he saw me, he got Mom, and between the two of them, they safely lowered me down into the laundry room. Now here's the thing. I had forgotten about this incident completely before I heard my parents tell this anecdote. So how can I be certain that it really happened? I can remember being in that laundry chute, but how can I be certain I didn't create that memory from the story my parents told? How can I know that they aren't remembering it wrong, and I'm remembering what they remembered wrong? I certainly have memories that old, but they're all of repeated events. Eating Flintstones vitamins in the morning, lying on the kitchen floor, listening to the refrigerator run, realizing that that's what I'm listening to. running through the forest outside my preschool. These are things no one has ever told me about. I can be certain that these are my memories, but for such a singular incident. There was once a woman with a clear, vivid memory of being kidnapped when she was only 2 years old. She could recall features of the kidnapper which no one had ever mentioned to her. The only problem is that it never happened. Her nurse had made up the whole thing, and years later she admitted it. But even though it never happened, to that woman, it did. She could remember it. In her mind, it was completely real. Our memories are not made up of facts. They are not just stored sensory data. They are stories. They are symbols and the definitions of symbols, sorted by association. They aren't stable either. They change all the time. Our brains do not want to store facts. They want to store the best possible stories. And so our memories will adjust themselves until we can find them acceptable. And so that's what happened to those witnesses in Roswell 30 years after the event. Maybe Lazar isn't lying, and he believes that what he said is true, or if he was lying, then maybe he believes it now. This is what happens when people claim they were abducted by aliens, whereas in the past they were visited by demons or succubi. They aren't lying. They are right by the identities that define them, by the stories they tell themselves about themselves. They are speaking nothing but the truth. And so this is the ultimate difference between a scientist and a magical thinker. A scientist must be willing to be wrong. If you are right, then you can seek out literature and other individuals who agree that you are right. And while you will doubtlessly argue from dawn to dusk over all the fine details, no one will tell you that you are fundamentally wrong. After all, nobody wants to hear that their memories are false, that their identities are a lie. To do so is a form of harm just as real as a slap to the face or a knife to the gut. But if you can be wrong, then you have the opportunity to discover something about reality, and thereby be a little less wrong in the future. Science and historicity, the truth of history, these things are preferable because by knowing what has really happened, it becomes possible to predict the future and thereby make the best possible choices in the present. If you want to properly mix chemicals, then learn chemistry. If you want to make good policy decisions, then examine what those policies have done in the past. If you want to understand humans, then find out what humans have done before. But if all you need to do is explain the past, then you can simply choose the facts or imaginings you prefer and sort them all into a narrative you can accept. And don't worry about the process. Your brain will do this for you automatically. And so that's why it's not enough to be a skeptic. You cannot simply expect other people to be wrong. If you wish to be the least wrong, you must always expect that you are wrong yourself. It doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist, or even humanist. If you cannot accept that you are wrong, then you will never learn another new thing. Thanks for joining me again in Conspiracy Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.